How can thinking small help us accomplish big things? Why do most New Year's resolutions fail? And how can you baby step your way in 2015 to your best year ever? We'll answer these questions and more on this, the 146th episode of the DoughRoller Podcast.
Welcome to the DoughRoller Podcast, where the best thing money can buy is financial freedom. We help you make more, spend less, and invest the rest. And now your host, Rob Berger.
Whether you're just starting out, buried under a mountain of debt, or well on your way to financial freedom, this is the podcast to help you take your finances to the next level. Hey everybody, hope you're having a great day today. Hey, today's podcast is one that's not exactly or directly tied to finances. It really can apply to everything, but I thought it was appropriate here in January, the start of a new year, 2015. And it kind of dovetails with some things that I've been thinking about in my own life about how to be productive. And by productive, I don't necessarily mean accomplish more things in life, but rather to accomplish those things that we're really meant to accomplish, whatever that is for you, your purpose, your goals, but to accomplish the really important things. Sometimes I know from in my own experience, I find myself trying to accomplish everything that happens to come into my life rather than making the tough choices about what's important. And as I thought through that, one of the things that has frustrated me for some time is the fact that I've wanted to publish a book. I have both fiction novels in mind as well as nonfiction, books about finance and investing. And I've wanted to do this for a number of years. I mean, I remember I was having a conversation with Mike Piper. You may remember Mike. He was a guest on this show all the way back in 2013. He blogs over at Oblivious Investor, and he makes a full-time living from the books he's published on Amazon. And he walked me through everything that I needed to know to do this as well, to write my own book, to get it published on Amazon. And in fact, that's why I had him on the show back in 2013. And guess what? It's now 2015. Now, that was 2013. I'd talked to him at least a year earlier. And here I am. I've yet to publish a book. Now, I'm working on one now. In fact, several of you helped me with one that I've kind of it's still there, but it's kind of lost some traction. That was on IRAs and Roth IRAs. I do plan to pick that book back up. But I was just growing frustrated that it's something that I really want to do, and it's not getting done. And so I've started to really study productivity, habits, routines. If you're a regular listener to this podcast, in the past I've talked about many habits and a concept called habit stacking, and I'm going to be talking about those more because I think they're so important. I've talked about how to be productive at home if you work from home, how to be even productive and efficient with your email. Well, this got me to thinking for 2015, it's very common to read any number of articles about setting New Year's resolutions. And we all know, probably from our own experience, but if not from reading, that most folks don't see their New Year's resolutions through, whether it's to get into better shape, be better with your money, spend less, save more, whatever it is. We seem to have this level of motivation at the beginning of the year, and even in some cases, in just a matter of days or weeks, that motivation seems to give way to life and to other things. And before we know it, we've not only have we stopped achieving our New Year's resolution or working towards them, we forget about them. Can you even remember the New Year's resolutions you made last year? Maybe some of you do, but I'm guessing some of you probably don't. Or how about 2 years ago or 3 years ago? So I started to think about this and how I might make this better in my life. And I certainly fit into that category of folks who have made New Year's resolutions in the past and not kept them. And so this year I decided to do something and to try something a little different. And it's something that I've actually been working on towards the end of 2014. And so I wanted to share it with you and give you some ideas. And it has to do with, rather than setting a goal, a big goal like, lose 20 pounds or save enough money to max out your 401k. I mean, these are all very, good goals, but they're too big. And, even if those are your goals, you still have to answer the question, all right, fine. What am I going to do today to try to accomplish that goal? What am I going to do tomorrow to try to accomplish that goal? And so what I've come up with, and I don't think this is anything particularly new, it's new to me, I suppose, to think of it this way, is that for 2015, rather than setting these sort of big goals, I've decided to set some daily goals. These are goals that I plan to accomplish every single day in 2015. Now, I've come up with 4 of them for me, and I'm going to share those with you in a bit. I've actually got a total of 15 that I'm going to share with you. The others are just ideas, and hopefully you'll come up with others on your own that work for you. But I think this is a really good way to think about those things you want to accomplish in 2015. And before I get to the specifics and some of the goals that I'm going to work towards in my own life and others that you might want to consider, I wanted to walk through four reasons or advantages, if you will, as to why thinking about goals on a daily basis I think is a better approach than just these sort of esoteric, big time goals that might take months or years to accomplish. And so 4 things, and this is kind of how I've thought through it, and maybe it'll help you as well. The first is when you think about a goal on a daily basis, a daily routine, or something you're going to do every day, it has to be an action item. It can't be this pie in the sky, I'll lose 20 pounds. It's got to be concrete because it's something you're actually going to do every single day. It forces us to think in terms of action steps rather than just those lofty goals. The lofty goals are fine. I have them. I want to publish a book. That's a lofty goal. But looking at it and thinking about it on a daily basis forces us to come down from out of the clouds and actually come up with some concrete step we're going to take. As an example, and this applies to me, it may not apply to you, but if you want to write a book, that's great. That's a lofty goal. But if you want to boil that down into a daily goal, it might be that you will write every single day. You may not write a lot. Maybe it's only a sentence or a paragraph or a page. But you will write every single day. That is a daily goal. And if you follow it long enough, you'll eventually reach that lofty goal. But that's an example. The real point is daily goals force us to think in terms of action steps. That's the first, I think, advantage. The second one is prioritization. It forces us to think about what's truly important in our lives, whether it's in our work, our home lives, our relationships, our money, our health. Because we're going to be doing this every single day, we really have to clear out all of the clutter and say, okay, what's really important to me in 2015? Because this is something you're going to do every day. You can't pile up with 20 things that you're going to do every single day. It's just not realistic. Depending on what your daily routines and goals are, I think even 1 might be realistic for some, or 2 or 3, but I've got 4, which I'll share in a minute. You get beyond that, and it's just probably not very realistic unless they're things that can be done very, very quickly. So thinking of it in terms of a daily goal really forces us to prioritize and decide for us what really matters. The third thing, and this is the concept I mentioned earlier, it forces us to think in mini goals, to break down our big goals and think about things we can accomplish in a short period of time. And the thing about mini goals is that because they're much easier to accomplish on a day-to-day basis, we're far more likely to actually accomplish them, to see them through. I've talked about mini goals in the past, and they can be applied to anything, whether it's finances, your health, relationships. So a daily goal forces us to sort of minimize, if you will, all of our goals and to think into small, discrete, chunks of time and action that we can take. And I think it increases the likelihood that we'll see it through. And then the fourth and final thing is it really forces us to think in terms of our daily routine. Everything that we accomplish because of things that we do day to day. And here's how I think of it. We accomplish big things by consistently doing small things every day. That's my quote. If you want to hear from Aristotle, he said the same thing a couple thousand years ago. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. And when we think in terms of daily goals, it forces us to really evaluate our daily routines and how we're spending our day and our time day to day. And when you think about daily goals, you build them in to your daily routine. And again, you multiply that by a day, a week, a month, a year, a lifetime. And I think it'll enable us to accomplish some really great things. So that's kind of my thinking on the importance of daily goals. That's fine. So what are they? What are some of the ideas? Well, let me start with the first. I'm going to give you 15. I'm hoping, by the way, that I hear from you and what daily goals perhaps you've set, and then I can share those with folks in a future podcast. But I'm gonna walk through 15. The first 4 are my daily goals, my routine for 2015. And I know we're about a week into 2015, and I have so far I have accomplished these mini goals, if you will, every single day in 2015. The first one, I'm going to make my bed every single day, and I got to tell you, there's part of me that's embarrassed to tell you that that's my first of my 4 daily goals, making my bed. I feel like I'm 10 and my mom's telling me to make my bed. If you would have told me I would set that as a daily goal, if you'd have told me that a year ago, I'd have said you were crazy. But I am absolutely convinced it's the right way to start your day. It puts order to your day, and it's almost like it's a trigger. It tells me, oh, I've got a routine today. I've got a plan. And the first part of it, as soon as my feet hit the floor, is make my bed. I even make my side of the bed when I get up first and my wife's still sleeping. So that's me. Make my bed. That's the first one. The second one is I'm going to read every single day. And for me, I have something very specific in mind. I tend to read the paper every day. I read online every single day. I read my own writing as I write for DoughRoller or Forbes or U.S. News or Huffington Post or whatever. But this is something a little different. I plan to be reading through a book every single day. I have a lofty goal of reading 52 books in 2015. Of course, I want to break that down to a daily goal. And so the daily goal is I'm going to read and make progress in these books every single day. Now, some days I might read for an hour, and some days I might read for 5 minutes or just one page. That's not the point. The point is I want to pick up these books and be reading every single day. The third one, this will surprise no one for me, is to write. And this is not just any writing. I write for DoughRoller all the time, and I write for my day job, and this is specific to the books that I have in mind, the books that I want to write. I have some fiction and nonfiction. I'm working on one personal finance book now that I haven't mentioned to you all, but I will shortly. And that's the one I'm focused on now. But I want to make progress on that book every single day. And then once I'm done with it, I'll pick a different book and, again, make progress every single day. There may be days where I write for 3 hours. But that's not the point. There may be some days where I write a paragraph and it's all I can do. That's fine, but I want to make progress every single day. The fourth thing is stretching. I am about as flexible as a 2x4. And as I get older, that becomes a problem on my knees and my hips and my back. And I work out, and that's a different goal. That's a different thing. But I specifically want to stretch every single day. I have this goal of being able to, touch my toes without bending my knees, and it's pathetic. I'm not even close. And now, not everyone is flexible, and that's fine. But that's one of my goofy goals, and so it's simple. I'm going to stretch every single day. That's it could be a 1 or 2 minute routine in my day, but I've decided in 2015 I'm going to do that. So those are my 4 daily goals. They're obviously very different and a wide range of things. Some I guess maybe a little goofy, I suppose. Others maybe more important. I think they're all important for me, and that's why I've chosen them. And those are my daily goals. I don't have a New Year's resolution, at least not in a conventional sense. That's what I want to accomplish in 2015. Now, I have a few other things in terms of relationships and whatnot, but those are the 4 that I wanted to share with you. And so there you go. Now, I've written down some others that I think could be of interest to you, that I think would be good daily habits to develop, depending on where you are in life. And so I want to run through those, just kind of keep going down the list. So number 5, write down everything that you eat. This is particularly true if you're trying to lose weight. I think it's in Charles Duhigg's book, The Power of Habit. I think for a lot of people, writing down what you eat is what he calls a keystone habit. It can actually and very powerfully affect the decisions you make when it comes to food just by writing it down and seeing it there. One of the free apps that I use is MyFitnessPal. I think I've mentioned it in the past. You can look at it online, but then you can also download it as a iPhone or Android app. Very, very easy to use. Very easy to record everything you eat. If we want to kind of apply that to finances, number 6, write down everything that you spend. That can also be a keystone habit. Forget for the moment trying to force yourself into spending less, particularly if you've tried that and failed. Just write down everything that you spend without any particular budget in mind. It will, I think for many, many people end up affecting how much you spend and how you spend your money. You can write it down in a notebook. YNAB is very easy to use on your iPhone. My personal favorite budgeting app. Doesn't really matter what you use. I think that can be a great daily goal. Write down everything that you spend. All right, number 7. I call this the one big thing. Every single day in 2015, pick one thing that you want to accomplish that day. It could be anything. It obviously can change from day to day. In fact, it likely will change from day to day. The reason I like this goal is because it gives you purpose every single day. You're rather than just, you ever have the feeling you're going through life and life is kind of just happening to you. You've kind of got caught up in your routine with the kids and the breakfast and dinner and getting to work and coming back and school activities. And you kind of feel like, you're not really living life. You're just kind of on autopilot and cruising through life. There can be a time for that when that's not so bad. But I think even just picking one thing that you're going to intentionally accomplish every single day, it doesn't have to be a big thing. It can be a small thing. But the thing I like about it is it forces you to think about your day, think about what you want to accomplish, your purpose for that day. And unlike the other daily goals that I've mentioned, it can vary from day to day. But it can help just kind of give you purpose each day and avoid that feeling that sort of life is happening to you rather than you living life. All right, number 8, meditate, or if you prefer, pray every single day. It's not so much, it can be a faith-based, activity. It doesn't have to be. But I think even if it's just a couple of minutes out of your day to stop what you're doing, take a deep breath, reflect, meditate, pray, whatever your faith may be, or if you have no faith. But I think it can help. And in fact, study after study after study shows that taking the time to meditate each day or to pray each day can have a profound impact on really every area of our life. And it's something that, again, in the hustle and bustle of the busy day, certainly I've let that go many, many times. And I think we are better off when we take, even if it's 5 minutes, to stop, take a deep breath, reflect on our lives and what's going on in our day-to-day. I think it can have a big impact on really every area of our life. All right, number 9, exercise. This is no surprise. The difference is, we tend to get caught up in big exercise programs, joining the gym and all of that. That's fine. My wife and I go to a gym. We work out with a trainer. But that's not an everyday thing. But I think we should get some form of exercise every single day. A lot for us, a lot of that is walking. Even if we take the dog around the block, which for us is about a mile, that counts. There's no preconceived idea here as to what exercise has to mean for you. For some folks, it might be a 15-mile run, and for others, it might be a walk around the block. But I think making a point to get out and get some exercise in whatever form works best for you every single day will enrich our lives significantly. Number 10, learn something new every single day. Again, this doesn't have to be some huge thing. We're not talking about learning calculus, although if that's what you want to do, differential equations are your thing, have at it. But learn something new. You might learn something new from reading the paper. You might learn something new. Hey, you might learn something new from listening to this podcast or reading something online. But make it intentional. Think about what you're learning. And, I would even suggest keeping a journal. It could be even something as simple as Evernote, which is a great way to record journals, and write down what you learned. One of the things my wife and I did is a little different, but this past year in 2014, we wanted to do something different every single month of the year. Again, it wasn't always a big thing. Sometimes it was. We went to New York City with our daughter and went to a show. That was a new thing, a different thing. But one month we found a new coffee shop and went and had coffee and have enjoyed going back there since. There are different kinds of things, but we wanted to try something new every single month. But here was the key. We wrote it down. And so in December, we kind of went back all through our notes and kind of just relived each of those things that we did each month in 2014. And it was a lot of fun. And I think you could kind of apply the same thing here to learning something new. It could be a new word, vocabulary. It could be a new word. It could be a current event or something about finances. Whatever it is, try to learn something new every single day. And, for bonus points, keep a journal of it. It'll give you something to look back on at the end of the year. Number 11, do something different every single day. Again, it doesn't have to be a big thing. Maybe you go to work a different way. Maybe you eat lunch somewhere new. Maybe you have lunch with someone you've never had lunch with before. anything, something. Do something different every day. Some days it may be something really big, and other days it can seem really insignificant. But I think, again, routine is great. I don't think, for most of us, the problem isn't a mindless routine. We all kind of have those. I think for most of us, the problem is, maybe breaking out of that from time to time. So doing something different every day, whether big or small, I think can be a great daily goal. Number 12, declutter one item from your house, your office, your car, wherever you're in your life. Throw it away, give it away, sell it, something. So most of us have those rooms, whether it's the garage or an office or somewhere in our house where you open the door and you're like, oh, well, I can't even look at it. You close the door and you walk away. Just pick one item a day and declutter. By the end of the year, you'll have that space looking great. It's kind of how I'm dealing with my workshop, which is kind of looks like a war zone right now. One item a day. I think, again, a great daily goal. Number 13, drink 64 ounces or more of water a day. I do this, actually. I didn't write it down for my 2015 daily goals because it's something I just do every day. And usually I try to have 100 ounces of water. And but it's a great way to improve your health. And it's a simple thing to do. You can work this into your routine. And it doesn't really take any time at all. But I think that's a great daily goal. Number 14, write down. This one you have to write down, I think, something or someone for whom you are thankful. I think trying to express our gratitude, you get bonus points if it's someone and you actually, convey your gratitude towards them. But I think being thankful, it puts us in the right mindset. We hear so much in the news and from politicians about how horrible things are and how everything is just awful. Well, we hear that from some politicians, I should say, not all of them. And, sometimes things aren't great. And maybe as you're listening to this right now, you're struggling, whether it's finances, health, relationships. None of us live a long life worth living without struggle. And it's just kind of, I guess, comes with the bargain, huh? So I don't want to pretend that life is easy. Maybe it's not easy for you right now. But I think if we can find one thing or one person we're thankful for, it'll help us, certainly help us in the good times, but it'll also help us in the more difficult times too. And 15, this last one is probably the least concrete of all of them. But it's this: master your mornings. I think the morning time is so important. And maybe I could define it a little differently. Master the first 2 hours of your day. So maybe you don't get up until 1 in the afternoon. Maybe you work the night shift. That's fine. But master the first 2 hours of your day. I have found that on those days where I am productive and living intentionally in the first couple hours of the day, those days are the best. And when I let those first few hours get by me, then the rest of the day usually doesn't go so well. And it doesn't mean that you have to be this productivity machine getting, one thing after another crossed off your to-do list. It really means living those first few hours intentionally. I mean, some days for you, that might be drinking a cup of coffee and enjoying the paper, if that's your plan for the day, or going on a bike ride with the family. Whatever it is, though, master your mornings. Make them productive, and I put that in quotes because, again, it doesn't necessarily mean getting your to-do list done. But I think once it's kind of like, for me anyway, making that bed. It sets the day into the right in the right direction, and I have found it to be a very helpful way to have a day that I think is, again, productive, whatever that means for that given day. Oftentimes it is getting my to-do list done, but not always. But figure out a way to master your mornings. I think it will lead to a very productive and content 2015. I know it has worked for me as I started that same concept in the latter half of 2014. Well, I've given you some ideas. The real key here isn't so much the ideas I've given you. Maybe some of them will resonate with you. Maybe they won't. The real key is for you to come up with those 1 or 2 or 3 or maybe 4 daily goals in 2015 that you want to accomplish that could make a big difference in your life. So as you're thinking about, by the way, you may have already forgotten your New Year's resolutions. Probably not. It's probably a little too early for that, but maybe you have. Maybe you didn't make any. Maybe you don't like them. Forget New Year's resolutions. Come up with a couple of things you'll do each and every day for the rest of 2015 that if you accomplish them and make them, I would make them easy. Think mini goals. But if you accomplish them every single day for the rest of 2015, it would make a big, big impact in your lives. And by the way, if you come up with daily goals, maybe you've already set them, maybe you come up with them after listening to this podcast, shoot me an email, dr@DoughRoller.net. I would love to hear what you have in mind, what your daily goals are, and we'll love to share them with folks in future podcasts. So there you go. As you know, you can always email me. It's funny. I read, as you know, I read and reply to every single email. And it's funny, sometimes people will respond to my reply and say, I wasn't sure if you really did read and reply to every single email, but you did. And it's funny, a couple of times it's taken me longer to get back to folks than I planned. I'm really pretty good with inbox zero, but not perfect. And occasionally one will get by me because when I ask a question in my weekly newsletter and I get a ton of responses, I don't process those with the inbox zero in mind. I let those sit for about a week and batch process them. Well, what happens sometimes is an email that's not a reply to the newsletter sneaks in, and I think it's part of that batch, and it just sits there, and I don't see it until I start to batch process all the others, and it's 4, 5, 6, 7 days later. I'm like, oh no. And I'll reply, and folks will say, I was about to send you a nasty email because you promised to reply to all your emails, and I hadn't heard from you, but I'm so glad I didn't because you did get back to me. Well, anyway, I do read and reply to every email, and if you haven't heard from me, feel free to shoot me another email and let me know. It probably means I just somehow missed it, but I do that. Would love to hear from you, dr@DoughRoller.net. Hey, I hope you're having a great 2015, and I hope you have a great rest of 2015. Of course, we're early here, just in January, but think about those daily goals. If you have any in mind that you're going to shoot for, shoot me an email, let me know. Hey, remember, until next time, the best thing money can buy is financial freedom.